A warm welcome to the morning call, ladies and gentlemen, whether you're watching us from. This is Africa News. 8 Chadian soldiers were killed in the wake of their president, Idriss Deby, hinting he could pull out his soldiers from all military operations across the continent. Chad, which contributes a significant number of military personnel in the fight against extremist groups like Boko Haram in Nigeria, is facing a serious economic meltdown, according to the president. Now, Chad has one of the most capable armies in the region, and Deby, while saying, in quote, Chad is a small country that has no means and has experienced huge problems in its recent history, has in recent years sent troops to fight militants in Nigeria, Niger, Cameroon, and Mali.
We have not been financially and economically supported at all. If nothing is done, if it continues, Chad will be obliged to withdraw from external operations on the continent. This is what the president explained in interviews given to RFI, TV5 Monde, and the Le Monde newspaper. Chadian soldiers killed this weekend were part of the regional force created by the countries bordering Lake Chad to fight the Nigerian jihadist group Boko Haram. In early June, 9 other Chadian soldiers were killed in an attack on Boko Haram against a military post on the north shore of the lake.
Now, Raoul Taib is a security expert, and he joins us right now on this edition of the Morning Call. Good morning, Raoul. Welcome to the Morning Call. How should we understand this warning from the President, Idriss Deby, to withdraw from peacekeeping operations in Africa?
Contrairement aux États de la sous-région, le Tchad a fait le choix d'assumer sa puissance.
Unlike the states of the sub-region, Chad has made the choice to assume its military power. With all this involved in terms of politically speaking, incorrect and others, Chad made the choice to pay the price in terms of loss in human lives. Chad made the choice sometimes to go in contradiction with the options of its public opinion. So Chad made this choice to assume its military power and does not understand today that the international community does not recognize this in its proper measure.
Je pense que le Tchad a acquis des capacités militaires énormes.
I believe that Chad has acquired enormous military capabilities. Its human resources have been hardened on the different fields of operation in Africa. All this put together makes the country the gendarme of the sub-region, the main military sub-regional power. The Chadian authorities have the impression that the international community does not recognize this, and that is why I understand this reaction from the Chadian authorities.
Now, Raoul, the economic situation of the country of Chad, is the economy that promising, not that promising in this context we are talking about?
Oui, ça peut également expliquer l'attitude du Tchad, parce que, voyez-vous, pour qu'un pays projette au loin sa puissance militaire...
Yes, it can also explain Chad's attitude, because when a country projects off its military power, there has to be means. I believe that today Chad needs the support of the international community to continue to play its role in Central Africa. For example, the impression that many powers subcontracted a little the war against Boko Haram in Chad. So it is important that the country that is hit head-on by the economic crisis due to the fall of the oil prices be supported. There has to be a little bit of survival in the sub-region, of the continuation of the war effort against Boko Haram.
Now, Raoul, if Chad implements its warning, would that be catastrophic, and to what extent would this be?
Absolument, parce qu'il faut le dire que partout le Tchad intervient.
Absolutely, because it must be said, everywhere where Chad intervenes, its military are extremely effective. Generally, they are in the forefront. For example, Chad does not have the same worries as a country like France, because generally when France loses a man, there are big repercussions on the national level. Chad does not have the same problem. I think that in one way or the other, a withdrawal would be catastrophic. Many countries in the sub-region avoid engaging their forces, assuming their military power. But Chad is precisely in a logic of projection of its power, reaffirming its power, and has not hesitated to send its men into the external operations. It is not afraid of the loss of human lives, and if it comes to withdraw, it would be catastrophic.
N'a pas peur de perdre sa vie humaine et je crois qu'aujourd'hui, un retrait du Tchad pourrait être catastrophique, effectivement.
Now, Raoul, lastly, let's think about Boko Haram. Don't you think it is necessary to think about the situation with the insurgent group, then seek other answers after, because it's an imminent problem at hand?
Le tout militaire a fait ses preuves, parce que voyez-vous, au moment où les
The whole military has proven itself, because you see, at the time when the countries of the region meet in Paris to fight against Boko Haram, the movement is in a process of territoriality. The military mobilization has made it possible to stop this process from the creation of a caliphate of Boko Haram. But it is important today that the states go beyond the military response, put in place multi-sectoral policies. It would be in this case a question of experimenting what the Anglo-Saxons call other operation other than war. This policy would result from a diagnosis of the situation. It must be said, Boko Haram is above all the consequence of a dysfunctioning of the systems to live together. At the national scale, Boko Haram is also a way of seeing the world and does not find a way to see the world only with scars. I think the civil-military actions that are put in place by the different states, the actions of development, the counter-propaganda actions should be put in place to come to the end of the terrorist sect, but more importantly, states must develop a strong resilience.
Mais plus important, il faudrait que les États développent une grande capacité de résilience.
Raoul Sumotaip talking to us from Yaoundé in Cameroon about this whole operation, withdrawing military operations across Africa by Commander-in-Chief of the Chadian army.